So there's a dead horse stinking up the joint, and I'm going to go ahead and bury it because frankly the ceremony is long overdue. This whole thing, the anti-SJW scene, the skeptic community, all of the people who were doing the thing that I used to consider myself a part of, they kind of still do, let's be honest, it is over. And you know what? We won. Yes, great, fantastic, handshakes and pats on the back all round. We did it. We won the war of ideas and we defeated the SJWs. Congratulations. And here's how I know this, by the way. You go up to the average normie nowadays and you talk to them about hardcore, ultra-woke SJW stuff, and you watch them roll their eyes. Woke media still comes out all the time. Nobody takes it seriously. It's a laughingstock. People look at Antifa, they see a potentially dangerous organization. The battle of ideas in the big arena, the court of public opinion, has been won. It obviously wasn't a total victory. There's still places where SJW sentiment is strong, like certain faculties at certain universities, the sociopathic corporate world, certain HR places, people who run the arts industry. But you know, the Nazis were defeated with like proper tanks and planes, and they're still Nazis. The Imperial Japanese got nuked twice, and there's still some of them around. There's always gonna be some of the bad thing left in the world. You're never gonna be able to 100% remove it. And trying to do so makes you either a massive idiot or just straight up evil in the exact same way that the SJWs were. And frankly, I do believe that the fact that we didn't win a total victory is a very good thing. Because by and large, many of the good ideas that the SJWs were advocating for, like for instance, acceptance and inclusion of more minorities at a higher frequency in the mainstream culture, have come through in this battle. They too have emerged victorious, and that's a very good thing. This whole anti-SJW thing was never about scrubbing all the gays from the media and putting women back in the kitchen. At least it wasn't for most of us. Over the past couple months and years, where the anti-SJW scene has been sort of dead, there's been this split happening where people are showing their true colors. Because when you have a group of people that are advocating for a certain thing, the reasons that those people can have for advocating for that very same thing will probably be very different. For instance, some people were advocating for Western liberal culture not to fall prey to leftist victim tyranny because tyranny bad. Whereas other people advocated for the Western world not to fall prey to leftist victim tyranny because it wasn't the kind of tyranny that they wanted Western liberal culture to fall prey to. People for years painted all anti-SJWs as Nazi people. They were wrong, of course, but there were Nazis in the anti-SJW scene. Let's not pretend that there weren't. This guilt by association bullshit obviously doesn't remove the correctness of the tyranny bad please remove argument, but it has been used nonetheless. And now that the war is won, most people are moving on from it, but you find some people who are not moving on from it. And the reason for this is obviously that the people who have moved on, their reasons for being anti-SJW are no longer a problem. The SJW ideas have been defeated. Western culture is not going to fall prey to their tyranny. But the people who are not moving on, their reasons for being part of that scene have not been fulfilled, because we've not fallen victim to their particular kind of tyranny. The thing that they cared about all along was not that trans people were being shoehorned into things for political brownie points. The problem for them was that there was trans people at all, and gay people, and black people, and Jews, and whoever else you can imagine. You notice how that using these terms that just 2 years ago were standard, battle of ideas, culture war, SJW, anti-SJW. It just feels archaic and cringy to use them now. That's how quickly things on the internet just sort of go stale. You have the split now where it is revealed who was anti-SJW because of the SJW tactics and who was anti-SJW because they disagreed with the SJW ideas. And I want to make one thing clear. I don't like the latter group. And I never have. And frankly, it is very liberating to be able to not defend Nazi fucktards anymore because they were saying things I agreed with for reasons I didn't agree with. And though the general, even YouTube public has moved on from this particular subject matter, you go to these guys' channels, you feel like it's mid-2017 and the Pepe army is marching against the crybaby artillery fire.
They have a gay character on the show now, and that's immoral because it's a gay character on a kids show. They're teaching kids that gay and trans people exist.
And yeah, they are, because it turns out gay and trans people and all of the other kinds of people who are not what you might describe as normal, they cohabitate this pale blue dot with us, and there is nothing wrong with them, and there is nothing immoral about them. And while forcing kids to take hormones so they will become trans because they decided to put on a dress one time is bad, it is good to teach kids that if they do feel like they are of the other gender, or they don't feel like they conform to the gender dichotomy at all, that is okay. Now, all of this isn't to say that you can't make anti-SJW content anymore where you criticize woke media. A lot of people do it, and it's very good. But the way that it is done has shifted dramatically. It is now primarily about making fun of people who have a victim complex. And very often, this is not going to be just on the left, but also people on the right. Because the right wing has very liberally restocked their arsenal with SJW tactics. Because the tactics weren't the problem for them, the ideas were. You can commentate on how shit the new Ghostbusters all-female movie is. There's probably like a 7th one coming out soon. You can talk about the stupid extra credit video or the idiots who think that the OK sign that divers use for things is evil, bad white nationalism. But don't pretend like this is the product of some clandestine political cabal of people trying to influence public opinion into postmodernist, communist woo-woo. Because first of all, that's not how that worked in the first place, but also, that isn't what's happening. They're a laughingstock. Take out their arguments if they even have one, make fun of them, and move on, potentially without pretending that having a film with an all-black cast is somehow the end of Western civilization. SJWs are cringe, people have gotten the message, stop living in the past. This is interesting to me personally because this sort of mirrors what happened to the atheist community way back when, because then the fight was, atheism versus the evil religious right, and then when that fight was won and like the religious right basically holds no sway in the American public anymore, the atheism community they split into the two nuclei that would eventually form the SJW and anti-SJW community. I am genuinely curious what this is going to develop to next. What I've been seeing, or at least what I believe I've been seeing, is like a reorganization into like left and right. So maybe we will have another left and right type fight next season, but without like the religious focus. And let's be honest, the right wing, and especially like right wing identitarians, are on the rise, which is exactly what I and many others predicted would happen if the SJWs drove too many people away from the left. Of course, the causes of this are complex and, manifold, and don't think that any individual point that I put forth in this video I think is the sole cause of anything at all. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. But face it, SJWs as an ideological crisis are over. Their best ideas managed to make it, which is the best possible outcome that anyone could have hoped for. And frankly, there are more important battles to be fought now. Thank you very much for attending this funeral. I hope we can keep the dead horse in there now. I hope there's not going to be any grave robbers, necromancers, all of those kinds of people. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, tell me your opinion in the comments, or YouTube thinks that this video is good, consider buying some of the merchandise potentially, or the short story collection that I've written. If you buy the paperback, you get the Kindle for free on Amazon. People have been doing that. Consider supporting me on Subscribestar or Patreon. Either one works, they have the same perks. Just if something doesn't go through, let me know, because most of the system is automated. And yeah, basically, you know, move on if you haven't already. See the new lines drawn in the sand. And see you around, cunts.